Hi everyone, welcome to Julie Reads Her Bookshelf. I'm Julie, and today I thought I would do the Booktube newbie tag. So let's just get right to it. So first question, why did you start this channel? Well, as the title of my channel suggests, I started this channel to force myself to read my bookshelf. And the best way to do that is through public accountability, so that everyone can see how I am reading through my unread shelf and how many books I have left and how many books I have gone through. The second question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I wasn't aware I had to bring fun things to Booktube. In terms of unique, I guess this is a project-based channel. I have a goal in mind that I'm trying to get to, and I hope that you will join me on this journey to getting to that goal, or watch me fail miserably as I try not to buy books for the next 3 years. The third question is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I'm excited to get into a rhythm. I'm excited to produce something, to produce content. I'm excited to count down the books from 90 to 0, and most of all I'm excited to meet some people who might also love books. I think one of the biggest problems in any reader's lives is that we are often the most bookish people that we know. So it's rare that I have friends who are as into reading as I am, or into reading the same books as I am. So I'm really excited to meet some like-minded people on here. Question number 4, why do you love reading? Oh, that's a difficult one. For me, reading is entertainment, if you want it to be. It's knowledge, if you want it to be. It's also the experience of entering into someone else's mind, entering into someone else's perspective, and feeling the array of emotions that they feel and they want you to feel. Question number 5, what book or series got you into reading? This is an easy one, Harry Potter. I was part of the generation of children who grew up reading Harry Potter, and I'll always remember I was watching a video of Harold Bloom being interviewed, and the interviewer was asking Harold Bloom, well, isn't it good that given the popularity of Harry Potter that these books are getting children into reading? And Harold Bloom's response was, well, children who read Harry Potter when they're young grow up to read Stephen King. I should say I do not read Stephen King. There's nothing wrong with people who do. He's just not my cup of tea, and I just cannot stand that degree of snobbery that would cause a person to reflect on children's choices in reading and somehow hold it against them as if they have poor reading taste. I hope that that's not the kind of reader I am, but the books that got me into reading and have kept me reading ever since were the Harry Potter books, and I am very, very thankful to its author for that. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? It's a hard one because I follow a few booktubers, and I follow them to find out what they're reading and to get recommendations and inspirations for what to read next. At the moment, I don't need any recommendations for what to read next, because what I should be reading next are the next 90 books on my bookshelf that I haven't read yet. So I guess my question to these booktubers wouldn't be, what are they reading? In fact, it wouldn't be related to books at all. It'll be what they do in life, and I guess how they balance their hobbies of reading and everything else that happens. Number 7, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? In terms of challenges, I think there are two. The first one is this real sense, I think, at the beginning of a channel where you feel like you're talking at the void and shouting into the void with no one to respond to. So I don't know how to overcome that. I'm hoping that by putting something out there, I will hear an echo back. And if you are watching, please subscribe and comment so that I know that you're there. There's another challenge, I think, which comes with all forms of social media, which is the challenge of being authentic and making social media work for you rather than you working for social media. I don't know how to overcome that challenge. I'm constantly struggling with my own use of social media, how much I use it or how little I use it. That's a hard one. So I hope that through doing this channel, I have a different perspective on social media and also on content creation. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be a content creator. I love my day job, but I do want to think about what it is that I'm putting out into the world, whether it has any value, and how I can do so without compromising my own life and my own privacy, and without feeling like my life is on show and commoditized. Number 8, when did you start reading? I started reading when I was maybe 4 or 5. My parents read to me while I was in China. And in fact, I grew up in China until the age of 10. And I read Chinese books. In fact, I read Chinese translations of Grimm's fairy tales. That's one of my earliest memories of reading, and also Chinese myths about how it is that the Chinese people came to be, the country came to be. At the age of 10, I moved to Australia, and that was a really hard year initially when I first came, because I didn't speak any English, so I had to learn English from scratch. And in doing that, I felt that I lost my ability to read, and that was a hard journey, and one in which I learned a lot about myself and where my motivations come from. But when I finally felt like I had learned enough of this new language that I could get through a whole book without assistance, the first book I read, I'll never forget this, is Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. So for that reason, that book will always have a really soft spot in my heart. Where do you read? That's question number 9. That's an easy one. I read on public transport. So I work as a professional. I'm a lawyer. I spend almost most of my day working, or whatever day is left over from, whatever time is left over from working, I'm trying to enjoy my life and spend time with family and friends. So I really make sure that on my commute, I read all the way there and I read all the way back. So that's the main way in which I read. What kind of books do you read? That's also an easy one. I read classics and contemporary literary fiction. I also read some non-fiction. Those 3 are sort of maybe 95% of my reading, and I completely acknowledge that that's very limiting. I have no great knowledge of a lot of the genre fiction, like romance, sci-fi, or fantasy, and that's on me. That's completely on me. Those are genres that I hope to explore, but I'll have to do it after I read through my unread books. And question 11, what does your book collection look like? Well, it looks like this. This bookshelf behind me is about 60-70% of my books. Actually, probably a bit more than that. Most of my books are behind me. They are mostly classics and anthologies, and some contemporary fiction. My contemporary fiction collection tends to rotate in and out quite quickly because I read books, and if they're not a keeper, if I don't think I'll go back to them and reread them, then they find their way to the free little library just down the road. But if I think that I might go back to them, they stay within the collection, and I sort of find a place for them somewhere in this apartment. But the classics I tend to keep unless I really didn't like them, and the anthologies I don't buy an anthology unless I think or I know that I like the author. So I tend to keep those as well. So that's a lot of my collection. And those are the questions. Thank you for watching. And as I said, if you want to let me know that you are there, please subscribe, please comment, and I'll see you next time.